All right. My thing is that the moment of silence, of course, is for the remembrance of the lives that was lost due to domestic violence. Domestic violence is real. I hope tonight, you guys will feel compelled to be a part, because you never know. It could be a sister, a neighbor, a friend that is silenced to the violence. So I'm hoping that you will hear one word, one phrase that will open your heart and make you want to be a part, okay? Without further ado, when we get started, it gives me great honor to introduce my sister friend, Miss Phenomenal, Miss Brenda White, as a survivor.
Well, I'm not going to try the mic either. I'm just going to speak loudly. Good evening to everyone. I am an 8-year survivor of domestic violence, and I proudly and boldly say that. It's wonderful to be able to be before you. It's a blessing to be able to be before you. But what I want to say this evening is the voice of being the voice. I always say that I'm the voice for domestic violence, but I too want you all to take the challenge to be that voice. And the reason why I say that is because there's a great need in our community for us to reach out and educate, empower, and enlighten individuals about what domestic violence is, because a lot of them don't know what it is. It's not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's verbal. And I think that all of us have the ability to help someone get the help they need. We have a wonderful organization that help here. We have the Family Justice Center. 8 years ago when I went through my tragedy, it didn't exist, and now it does. So you have a place to go. You have some forms of support that's there to help you. So utilize that, and we need to let individuals know that we have that support here. Now, the numbers have risen because we're in a pandemic. 250% up. That tells you something. That tells you something. People are afraid to leave. They don't know that they can leave. You know, children are being abused. Men are being abused. The elderly are being abused. All of those are being abused. So therefore, we've got to make sure that we come together in this community and let individuals know where to go and where to get that help. Because no one has to stay in that environment. It's not healthy and it's not necessary. You can leave. It can be your neighbor, your co-worker. It could be a church member. Even though we're not in church, we still communicate with our church family. So don't be silent toward domestic violence. It is not needed to be silenced. Don't be silent. You've got to have that voice. And I don't want to just have that voice. I've got a big mouth. But I want you all to be the voice too. And the way I look at it is from tragedy to triumph. 8 years ago, I never thought that I would be in the shoes that I'm in now. But when I took that charge, I said, you know what, I'm going to help someone because God allowed me to live to help someone. So that's what I've been doing ever since. You know, get involved in your community. There are a lot of things out there. Don't be silent. Don't be silent. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Brenda and I have been on this journey. I met Brenda in November of 2014, and here she is tonight being a powerful voice. And thank you to the Commission of the Status of Women with the City of Greensboro for this opportunity. This is my 6th year participating. I was here in year 1 and I'm still going strong. Thank you. But I have to say, the truth is domestic violence has a very different meaning this year. As we all know, COVID has changed so much. For many victims of domestic violence, the pandemic has only intensified the crisis that happens behind closed doors. The statistics are startling. In our county, we've seen a 250% rise in domestic violence-related homicides this year compared to the 5 years prior. We know that when victims are coming into the Family Justice Center, more often they're reporting a weapon was involved in the incident. They had to seek medical attention for the violence that they experienced. Internet crimes against children are on the rise, and the isolation of older adults, we just don't know what's happening. We know that this is just the tip of the iceberg for what our community is experiencing. But to date, the Family Justice Center partnership has impacted over 45,000 people since we opened in June 2015. Since COVID, what that means is over 4,000 people have come into our centers for help, leaving their homes during a pandemic, leaving their homes during a shutdown, because we remain the light. Our partnership came to work day after day to serve those who were most vulnerable and at greatest risk. The stories we hear each and every day are stories filled with pain and uncertainty, and we are all experiencing that uncertainty. Being a victim of domestic violence is more challenging than ever. It's the pandemic within the pandemic. In addition, those on the front lines describe this period as being the most challenging in their careers. Partners on the front lines are the heroes in this work. They are leaning into the power of collaboration, working across disciplines, being demanded to find creative solutions during what can seem like impossible times, going above and beyond, and while very weary, they are fulfilling our shared mission. It is an honor to work at the Family Justice Center and be a part of this partnership and this community. A partnership that includes professionals and survivors. Survivors like my friend Brenda. Hope lives here. From inside the walls of the Family Justice Center to our Camp Hope program, our Voices Committee, our Elder Justice work in this community here tonight. Transformation is happening. The need for our full and community engagement to support those who are hurting and those who are being hurt has never been more paramount. As helpers, we cannot do it alone. We can't make awareness happen. We have to cultivate it, creating conditions to make hope possible. Conditions that include working together, being kind-hearted, sharing responsibility and accountability, no matter how complicated. And boy, is it complicated right now. As I close tonight, I want to read the names of those lives lost to domestic violence this year. 2020 has set many records. And in Guilford County, this will most likely be the year with the most number of domestic violence homicides on record. That's a particularly hard statistic when your mission is to save lives each and every day. So we remember Jenny, Mackenzie, Serenity, Tiffany, Deirdre, Rodney, Beckia, Susanna, Tamika, Aaron's, Algerard, Brooklyn, Michael, and Ricky. It is only through togetherness and community that we can restore hope, stop the violence, and create a safer community for all. Thank you.
Hello everybody, can y'all hear me like this? Good, okay. My name is Tamia King. I attend A&T and I'm the Poet Laureate, and I was asked to do a poem concerning domestic violence. Let me read it. I wondered what it looked like. I thought it only came in the form of grappling hands. I saw it on her one night. It looked like a speeding car, doors being flung open, a drunk man chasing us down the streets of Wilmington. It felt like shackles. Possessiveness that could not hide itself long enough for her to blow out the candles. It was pressed against a wall, making its presence known without yet lifting a finger. It was an argument, fueled by visits to an open bar until it drowned in its own cowardice. We all felt its glares, fuming because there were enough of us to stand guard around her that night. Too many of us for it to remain unnoticed. It did not want to be held accountable. It looked like control, yet still some foreign entity, until it looked like me, until I did not look like me. It felt like a riddle that was never designed to have an answer. It was calculation, a maneuver of how far my sanity could be driven until I was just short of the point where I could be deemed overreactionary. Its responses are entitled. It will grab you, then hold you over a gas burner just to hide its hands once you confront it about the heat. But the thing about flames is that they do not merely exist to destroy. There are more than a few survivors who were sat before a flame by those unworthy of being mentioned. Survivors who did not have a beautiful escape in the traditional sense of the word, but were able to find life in fire, and that is beauty enough. Do you wonder what they look like? Just take a look around. Know that whatever stereotype just appeared in your mind is a part of the problem and contributes to the erasure of identities, except that a reality has been created in which they have to prove their scars really exist and you perpetuate it. Will believe a third side of the story that you claim is necessary to validate their experience before you ever believe them. And I am worried even now that you still do not understand the violence to which I am referring. But they deserve more than a poem seeking to justify their humanity to those who will never choose to see it. Look around. Surviving feels like the first breath you take after you realize that you have even been holding it. The discovery that your body is never truly at ease until you can just relax your forehead. It looks like a battle to heal that will not always be quite linear. But it looks like life, and sometimes just that is enough. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian James, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chief of Police for the City of Greensboro. I'd like to thank all that came out tonight for the purple tree lighting as we celebrate the accomplishments and remember the victims of domestic violence. I stand before you not only as a police chief, but I stand before you as someone that was personally affected by domestic violence as a child. It's probably odd for you to hear me say that, but no one is immune to this. I understand the dilemma that many families face, and most often our women face when dealing daily with the horror of domestic violence. In recent years, we as a community have brought more attention to the problem of domestic violence in our city, and we have made strides by partnering together to form the Family Justice Center that has served and has continued to serve many people in need right here in Guilford County. But as we celebrate, I have to ask myself, have I done all that I can do? And have we done all that we can do? As we talk about domestic violence, we must agree that even one victim of domestic violence is too many. And as we count the numbers of individuals and families that have been helped, we must think about those who did not receive help and who continue to suffer each day. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm extremely proud of this community and the various individuals that have assisted in so many ways. And I never forget these efforts have saved lives. But as I think about what has been done, I have to ask myself, what more can I do and what more can my department do? And I ask you to think about what more you can do individually. If we agree that even one victim is too many, we have to ask ourselves, what partnerships have not been formed? What ideas have we been afraid to act upon? And are we willing to take on leadership roles or support roles that we know can make a positive impact on the prevention of domestic violence? So as we stand here tonight, I start with me, and I ask each one of you to dig a little deeper. We made progress, but we still have a long way to go, as you can hear with the numbers that we're looking at for 2020. As we stand here tonight, there's a woman somewhere right here in Guilford County who's afraid to go home, and she's also afraid to leave. Her children are living in fear daily, and with school being online, they don't even have a safe haven to go to during the day just to give them a break from the fear that exists in that household. So with all the resources that are available, I ask you, why has she not come to the Family Justice Center or one of the various services or nonprofits that are working every day to deliver her from this situation? With everything that is available, I ask you why she's not seeking us out. I wonder if we've done enough to get the word out. Have we made it as easy as possible for our community to access help? And are there additional things that we can do? Have we done everything that can be done to keep the focus on the victims of domestic violence? I like to think that our best ideas have not yet been implemented. I'll start with the Greensboro Police Department. And as I stand here, I'll tell you that I can do more and we can do more to bring attention to domestic violence. Sometimes when we endeavor to do more, we have to ruffle some feathers and we have to push some agendas as we fight for resources to address problems, but this is a cause worth fighting for. I ask you to also look at yourself. Many of you have been advocates for many years, and there are some of you who are domestic violence survivors, and we commend you for all the work that you've done and continue to do. But I challenge you on this evening to ask, what more can you do? There's someone this evening that has a great idea on how to help victims of domestic violence that you haven't implemented yet because you don't know where to start. I tell you this evening to just start wherever you are. Start moving forward with that idea and start talking to people. You'll regret it if you don't, and one day you'll wonder how many people you could have helped. There's someone this evening that is being called to be in a leadership position that will give you the decision-making power to help those victims of domestic violence, but you're not sure that you want that responsibility. Whoever you are, I respectfully say, it's not about you. It's about the people you can help and the difference you can make. So I'll leave you with these three things as our call to action this evening. The first thing is, determine what it is that we are doing and how we can do better. How can we reach more people? How can we be better about getting the word out about available resources? Who needs help that's not receiving it? The second thing I'll say is challenge ourselves to be creative and act upon our ideas and continue to push agendas that protect families and victims of domestic violence. Even if you don't know where to start, just start. And the third thing I'll say is I ask those that have been called upon to consider stepping up and taking on leadership roles that will give you the power needed to direct resources and influence to end the plague of domestic violence. I ask you, please, if you've been called upon, you know who you are, step up. We need you in this fight. And last, I'll just say that I thank you for what you're doing and continue to do. We're in this together, and I believe that if we remain focused and supportive of each other, we can make an even greater impact on this community, and we can get those the help that need it and those that are suffering from domestic violence. I thank you for this opportunity to speak. God bless you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Goldie Wells, and I'm the City Council representative for District 2.
And I am Mary Kay Abuzawader, Greensboro City Council at Large.
In 1989, Congress passed a Public Law 101112, officially designating the month of October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And legislation has been passed every year since. The color purple is known for domestic violence awareness. It originated in England when a group of battered women chose the color lavender. It evolved into purple as a symbol of courage, peace, survival, honor, and the dedication to the ending of domestic violence.
The significance of the purple tree lighting is to show support for domestic violence awareness. The lights are to remind someone here or someone in our community to feel free to come and ask the question or to come forward and get the help needed. This is our goal. We want the victims to know that there is support.
We are here today to raise awareness about domestic violence, honor survivors, and remember victims.
We are here today to encourage advocates to continue the great cause. We take a stand together to make it known that abuse is not okay.
May we now have the purple lights lit to bring that glow of awareness so we can continue the fight against domestic violence. Thank you. And we can see the purple better when the sun goes down.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Love Jones, and I'm the Director of the Human Relations, soon-to-be Human Rights Department. First, I want to say what I say every year, which is thank you for showing up. Thank you for making a statement by your presence for such an important matter. It seems like fall hit right on schedule this year for the first time in forever. It seemed like right in the nick of time that brisk wind hit. And I thought to myself, I don't remember the last time fall came on schedule.
Right.
And I thought about the fact that for a lot of people, the notion of being on time doesn't happen when it comes to this subject matter. For as many people who survive, there are often as many people who it seems to be too late. And on the one hand, that could be discouraging. But what I see here in the testimonials, in a police chief who takes the matter seriously and creates a community charge, in a director of such an impactful organization that does the work to save lives on a regular basis, is that we're not too late. We're still on time. And we can continue to do the work necessary to make sure that this is more about a celebration of survival and not a commemoration of people who did not survive. And so every year that we come, we take the charge away that was mentioned, and we're right on time. I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 22-year-old daughter, and I have a 29-year-old son. And when I think about the way that they engage in community and relationship, I always hope it's safe. I always hope that it's going to be filled with good choices and good outcomes. And what we know is that in some instances, the best choices have not always been met with good intention in exchange. So it's also important that we teach young people, and I say this every year, in addition to what we do here commemorating those who have survived, recognizing and commemorating those who have gone on, it's also important to accept the charge to make sure that younger and younger populations understand the difference between healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. And we're never too late to do that kind of work. I was unnerved at first when my daughter started virtual learning, and she said, well, we still don't have to use our cameras. And I said, well, isn't that hard for engagement? But then I thought about it. What might we see in the background in some houses? What might we witness that some young people are not only afraid to show, but ashamed to show? And so every time that we come together and we do this work together, we are eliminating shame, we are eliminating fear, we are eliminating embarrassment for our subsequent generations. We don't know who we're helping but the key is just to keep on helping. We don't know the way that we're helping always, but the key is to keep on helping. I'm very thankful for the familiar faces that I see every year. You show up on time. And here we are to do the work on time. And so let's not let this be a season that ever ends. The passion and the zeal that we have behind issues of domestic violence and eradicating it. Let us never grow weary in well-doing. And so with that being said, I certainly want to extend a hearty thank you to every member of this panel who spoke and shared from their heart for this program. I want to lend a very special recognition to our city council members who always think it purposeful to be present and accounted for this event. I also want to extend a special thanks to our staff with Human Relations that does the work for programming and outreach with excellence and a commitment even in a pandemic. But I certainly want to take the time to thank the Commission on the Status of Women, who put their heart into making sure that this program is everything that it needs to be every single year. We don't drive the ship as staff. We wait on the instructions, and they are very committed to making sure that there's a level of excellence when it comes to recognizing the importance of eradicating domestic violence. Thank you to everyone who came out this evening. Get home safely, continue to be safe in this pandemic, but most of all, let's continue to do the work on time. Thank you.
Also, I just want to just inject, just echo, we thank everybody for coming out. We also honor and thank our Chief of Police that's here tonight who did the call of action. We give him a round of applause. Captain Johnson, we love you for all you guys do. You know what I'm saying? And so many of it, my sisters, CSW sisters, I love you guys. Listen, we have Paint the City Purple.
Yes.
Miss Portia asked me to announce this before you all leave. Also, please take up time to read this information on the back. Please don't throw it away. Please read it. Some information is good for you. We appreciate you guys. God bless you. Be proactive with this cause. Have a good night.